The traditional media agency kind of fell into a business rhythm when creative and media were separated. And the benefit of that was that the advertisers were getting better value for their working media dollars, but the media agencies were still making margin because of the purchasing power that they had in collaborating with a lot of different advertiser partners and pooling that money to create buying clout. But what's happened over time is there's been significant pressure both from procurement in managing that cost down and in other vendors and other partners coming into the space. So you've got companies that are auditing firms like Deloitte and PwC that are looking at the space. You've got technology companies like IBM and Oracle that are coming into the space. You've got platform vendors that are providing programmatic capabilities as the move towards digital, taking people out of the equation, and the agency business model is one of FTEs and billable hours. So I think that the fundamental change is that the business model has to change for a media agency. They're becoming more and more dependent on data. They're becoming more and more dependent on doing things faster, cheaper, more repeatable, and that requires automation, that requires data science, and that requires skills and capabilities that they haven't traditionally had, right? So the challenge that they have is that they're operating in this old business model, and the ecosystem is in effect moving on without them. I still think that what they do is incredibly important, and I think that some of the changes that they're making are incredibly important. So bringing creative back closer to the media buying, I think, is important because content and advertising needs to be more tightly integrated today than it ever has been, especially with the proliferation of mobile devices. You've got people who are walking around with mobile devices all the time. It's collecting a lot of data as well as producing a lot of data. And the information that someone gets when they're on their mobile phone is incredibly important to be relevant and contextually appropriate for what they're doing at that point in time. And you're talking about location-based services and looking at data collection. I think it's interesting because the mobile phone and the way that someone's search behavior, their buy behavior, their traveling, in different routes or patterns, is all now starting to be collected and looked at to be predictive. Not to say I want to deliver you a message based on where you are, but where you're likely to be and what you're likely to be doing. So all of that's changing the way that advertising is being done and the way that media is being bought and sold. And I think that the media companies, the media agencies are all of a sudden now saying, we can actually own that space because we understand the platforms, we understand consumers, and we're better at storytelling than anybody else. The tech firms, the platforms are able to create transactions quickly. They're not necessarily able to make that engagement or that connection with the consumer, and the agencies can win in that space.